Blighty Boxing in association with Frank Warren and Queensberry Promotions. Now we're joined by the man who makes the magic happen, or as Tyson Fury would say, the magic man. Frank Warren, how are you?
I'm alright, I'm okay. Yourself?
Yeah, all good. Now while we're on the subject of Tyson Fury, just to keep it topical, your thoughts on the extraordinary rant from Deontay Wilder over the weekend?
Look, I find it all quite sad, really. You know, Deontay's. I quite like Deontay, as I've said, and I've got a lot of time for him. I don't know why he's embarrassing himself and saying all these stupid things. And they are stupid. Anyone with any brains knows it's rubbish. Weights in hands, and just for the sake of the listeners and the viewers, when boxers wrap their hands and glove up in world championship bouts. From the local commission, in that case it was Vegas, and from the one of their inspectors goes to each dressing room, as does a representative from each fighters camp go to the dressing room to ensure that the boxers' hands are being wrapped correctly per the regulations, and the gloves are being put on and so forth correctly, and they're all signed off. The tapes are signed and the gloves are signed, and I don't know why he's coming out with all this rubbish. It's just crazy. And that's for his drinks being spiked. Well, if they were spiked by his own corner. There's nothing to do with us. We have nothing to do with his water. But it sounds at the moment like he's drinking some spiked stuff. I don't know. It's a shame.
It's extraordinary because, I mean, he's been so quiet for so long, and you wonder if it's because his people knew that he was thinking this sort of stuff, and maybe they kept him quiet.
Do you know what? I don't know, and it's not going to change anything. The fact is, Tyson beat him the first time and got robbed, and soundly beat him the second time, and that's all. That's what we all know. That's a fact. That's what the record books say. That's how it is. Tyson passed all of his tests, his drug tests, and everything that had to be done appertaining to that fight. As I mentioned, with inspectors from the commissions and so forth, everything was done 100% correctly.
Just to keep it topical still, maybe you can put a few people's minds at rest. As far as you're aware, pertaining to the restrictions coming back on Thursday, behind closed doors, elite sporting events can carry on as before. Is that the case?
That is correct. So our events will take place as we've advertised.
So that will reassure the public. There's something to watch while we're under lock and key again.
Yeah, we was hoping by December we might have got some people in, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen now.
But like you say, that doesn't look like it's going to happen probably into next year. Are you planning for shows in January and stuff like that?
Yeah, we're going to do shows. We're going to carry on doing what we're doing. Yeah, we'll do a show in January. We'll do shows in January, February and March, and April all the way through.
Because it has been quite a relentless schedule since July, hasn't it?
Well, we work very hard because we're trying to give the boxers work, and obviously we've had to reduce the amount of fights we normally put on shows for obvious reasons. This COVID thing, the restrictions also apply to us, apply to venues and places, so we can only, I think at the moment it's about 7 fights on a card. We can't do any more than that. We can't get any more on TV. And it's not like, if you've got these youngsters or who bring some fans along with us, they've got nothing to help make up the cost. So we're doing the best. We're putting more shows on and just hoping to keep our guys busy.
Now, as the inspiration and co-founder of this channel, you'll know, but ostensibly the channel was created to shine a light on the younger element of your squad.
Yep.
Give them exposure, a bit of media practice, improve them in front of a camera, that sort of thing. To that end, I'd like to run a few of these youngsters past you, get your views on them and their progress.
Okay.
I know you don't like naming names, so I will. So if we miss any, it's on me and not you.
Right.
Probably the best way of doing it is probably to go back to July and just kind of work our way through a little bit. And the boy or the lad, young man that got us British boxing off and running again, Mark Chamberlain, a lightweight. He's only age 21. He's 7-0 now, but he looks like he might have something, Frank.
I like him. I like it, and I like Mark. He does the business in the ring, and what I do like is his attitude. I mean, he actually says to us, "Please step me up," and he wants to move very quickly. But that's easy to do that, and our job is to do it at the right time. So he shows his bit of patience. I think he'll get there. If attitude gets you there, and the skills that he's got, he'll do it. I mean, he should be an example to Ryan Garner. That is what attitude does for you. If you're in that frame of mind and you're a thorough professional and they're from the same gym, you know, you from us you get 100%. You know, you get the 100%. We do all we can to provide that platform for you to go and fulfil your dreams. And he is. I've got a lot of time for Mark. I like him as a fighter and a person.
We hope to see the Piranha again soon. You put Mark out again, and he's a natural born puncher, but you must have been pleased that he showed a degree of patience against a 10-1 more experienced opponent second time round. More
experienced opponent, as you quite rightly said. You know, somebody's going in there is quite confident, and I keep banging on about it. There's no home corner and away corner anymore. Yeah, they're both going into a neutral venue, and it seems like the guy's like, you know, 10-1's a good record, and he come to fight. And Mark done extremely well. You know, he made him think, and that's what really what it's all about. Is, you know, learning and coming through it.
Chopped him down to the body as well, didn't he?
He did. You know, it's not always going to be like. Sometimes when there's a wall there, you got to chip away. You got to chip away at the foundations, keep chipping, and gradually it forward instead of trying to bomb it all out with one big blow. And you know, that's where you're using your brain, and that's what I like about it.
Now, yet another heavyweight sensation, David Adelaide. I know he's someone that you pursued quite vigorously when he came on the market, so to speak. He's doing everything right so far, isn't he? I mean, he's had 2 outings, 2 stoppages. Pleased with what you're seeing?
I'm very pleased. You know, I'm pleased as well. He's working with Frank Greaves, who I've got a lot of time for. Frank, I like Frank. I think he's a young man, and I think he's going to have a good future as far as a trainer's concerned in this business. He's got a good management team around him, Mandy, and obviously Jonathan Barnett's involved, who's a very good friend of mine. And I like what I see of it. And what he's doing like, what a comparison I'm going to make here for him. He's doing what Larry Holmes did. He's going out sparring, and he's sparring world champions. He's been sparring with Anthony Joshua, and he's now sparring, will be in camp with Tyson Fury for his fight on the 5th of December.
As he was the last one.
Yeah, so it don't get any better than that. You know, that's tremendous sparring. So, you know, he's doing well.
Talk to me about Hamza Shiraz. He's 11-0. He's 6 foot plus, light middle, very young, 21. He's already got a WBO European title. He's someone I know you've got a little something for, isn't he?
I think I really do like him. I think he's got a bright future. I really do like him, and he's a consummate professional again. And I really do feel that he has the potential to go all the way. He wants it badly. And I've got to tell you something. He's not let us down in the ring at all, or let himself down. He's been brilliant.
That fight up in Birmingham before Christmas when he fought. More experienced guy, Kelly, I think it is, who's from Birmingham. That showed us something different because he was under pressure in that fight.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's a bit. When you look at him, he's very tall and rangy. He's like a, you know, I mean, I'm always using sort of comparisons, and I don't mean it being disrespectful to fighters and that, but you know, he's that sort of freakish type of build. It's a bit like, you know, Tommy Hearns. God knows how he's starting off doing well, but you look at him there, you know, very tall, slim, but massive power, loose-limbed, and he's got that power. And I love the shots he brings. Nice shots up on the inside. You know, I think he's got a tremendous future in front of him.
And if you look at the other side of it, he's polite, he's charismatic. There's nothing not to like
about him.
Very
decent boy. Got a good family and so forth.
Much the same can be said of our outright British super bantamweight champion, Brad Foster. A remarkable story. Came into boxing without an ounce of amateur experience, having been in the kickboxing. He's aged just 22. He's outright British champion, Commonwealth champion. You know, I mean, well, what more can you ask of him?
Well, to me, that's best young boxer of the year.
I think he would have been, don't you?
Yeah, without a doubt. When you look at that, you think to yourself, you say, 22, done all that, and zero experience as a professional, as an amateur boxer. It's amazing. You know, he should be extremely proud of where he's at and what he's done. He's done tremendously well, and and remember, he's still learning in every fight, and even in those learning fights, he's got himself into such a fantastic position, winning those 2 belts.
I presume, given his age and experience, you still have to plot his course fairly carefully.
Of course, yeah. He's, you know, he needs more and more experience, and we'll work to find him the right fights at the right time.
He's had a great platform this year, though. If you think back to February, I think you were away on Tyson Fury duty. He had a live slot, top of the bill on BT, ITV Sport, and then he headlined the show that brought boxing back.
Correct.
It's not bad, is it?
He's done all right. He's done okay. Good. And I've got to tell you something, he's been a good ambassador for a sport as well. There have been good fights he's been involved with.
Yeah. July 25th, we went on a second one, and this is a fighter I'm really like. And to me, it's almost like the second coming of Joe Calzaghe. And he's someone you manage, actually, our Emery, Henry Turner. What are you thinking so far?
I like him, don't you?
Yeah.
I like him.
Watched him spar Dennis McCann the other week. Oh.
He's a good fighter. Well, look at him and Dennis. I mean, they're paired. I mean, we're blessed with the talent we've got. Better than anybody. Yeah. Better than anybody's got this talent.
Is it better than anything you've ever had before?
Well, I just think
this current group.
This current group of, I mean, I've had some great talent over these, but
so
for
many.
a group, and how many there are, and how they're all performing, I'm delighted. And Henry's up there with them all.
Okay, we'll pick back up. Frank, obviously a man in demand, taking calls from radio stations. Where we left off, Frank, we just finished on Henry Turner, and I want to move us on to what I would consider a featherweight whirlwind in Louis Lynn. I hesitate to say it, because I've compared him to a young Josh Warrington, but he's almost like Josh Warrington with a punch.
Look, again, he's a tremendous young talent and prospect. I really, a lot of people, Martin Bowers and obviously Francis, my son who looks after him, they've got this, they really have this tremendous belief that he's going to do the business, and he is doing the business, by the way. So again, I'm delighted he's with us, and I think give him sometime towards the end of next year, he's going to be in some sort of title fight. There's no doubt about that if he keeps doing what he's doing.
The temptation with coaches will be to slow him down and make him do things a little bit more textbook, but he's just so exciting.
He overwhelms him, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, you just don't want to take that out of him, do you?
You don't. And do you know the killer about it is that you wish the fans were there, don't you? Because you meant the fans had loved that, don't they? I mean, they watch it obviously on BT, but to have a live audience there, they get excited by fighters like Louis.
And again, he's a hugely pleasant young man, isn't he?
Excellent, top draw.
Now again, I'm repeating myself, the same can be said for Chris Bourke, ex-Team GB, a unbeaten super bantamweight who can bang 5 KOs out of 8 fights. You had him on against Ramez Mahmood, which was a good fight, 2 unbeaten fighters. You're putting him out again on the next show. I'm trying to think he's fighting Michael Ramabaletsa.
Yeah.
For I think there's 2 titles at stake there, I think. He's doing all the right things.
He is, and he's got a tough fight, by the way. That's a tough fight for him.
Oh, he's something like a half and half record, but he's done for 4 unbeaten prospects in his last 4 fights.
Yeah, he's all right. Don't you worry about that. That's going to be a good fight. But again, he's a young man who was in a hurry, and he's you can't take it away from him. He's just as I keep saying, we're blessed with this, and what an exciting future he's got ahead of him when he comes through that fight.
Yeah. Now, also on that show was Joe Joyce and Denzel Bentley, but we'll come on to them later. On July 31st, 3 lads from Liverpool came down to the BT studio. One of them had fought for you before on a dinner show, but it was really your first proper sighting of Nick Ball, Andrew Kane and Brad Strand from the Everton Red Triangle gym in Liverpool. One of them's a little bit more calculated in his approach. The other 2 are like raging bulls, Andrew and Nick. What did you think? I
liked him. I think I said at the time, he's done a great job up there, Paul, with them. I mean, now they're really good fighters, and we're sorting out dates. Obviously, we're trying to accommodate everybody, and we're going to hopefully give them some dates towards the end of this week, get them out. But again, what 3 from the same gym? How good is that?
Well, there's more there as well.
And,
we've got 7 pros, as far as I'm aware, and then there's an amateur club in the evenings. They do all their own thing. They develop their own amateurs. Now, something you might remember, I might maybe being a bit cheeky there, Nell Tarleton, who was a great one from the 30s, he was from that gym. The gym's 100 years old, and it's still thriving to this day.
Well, I don't remember him, but I know the name, but I don't remember him.
Well, he actually fought at Anfield in a British title fight.
There you go.
So.
Well, it's got great tradition, but it's Liverpool's a very, it's always been a fight city, hasn't it, over the years, and it emanates from the amateur gym. That's where it all comes from.
You can probably build something there with this, doesn't he? I mean, geographically, Liverpool seems to have fallen off the radar a little bit across the board. Not with you in recent years. These boys have got the chance to put it back there.
They have,
if they develop.
No doubt about that. They have.
Kevin Ajako, unbeaten middleweight from Northern Ireland. He was impressive. He beat Jez Smith, who we know, brother of Mitchell. He got the job done. He's got 4 KOs, and he looks like a little bit of a ferocious prospect.
I'll tell you what, everybody was impressed with him that night. That was a tough fight. And
Jez was good, wasn't he?
Yeah, Jez come to fight. I mean, he's a good little fighter, and everybody was he impressed everybody. Everybody was talking about him afterwards. So we're hoping to get him out. I'm going to try and get him out before Christmas, or the worst case, he'll fight on our January show.
He's another one that just wants to take that big step now, isn't he?
Yeah. They all do. But you know what? They're doing the right step at the right time.
And he's another one that's got Francis in his corner, isn't he?
Yeah,
So,
he has, yeah.
the other one on that show is Lyndon Arthur. Again, we'll come on to him later. Now, you visited the York Hall on the 15th of August. On that show, there was Carl Frampton, Michael Conlon, and much heralded fighters of ours, Archie Sharp and Troy Williamson. But it took a 19-year-old, right at the end of the night, to come on and give a little injection into a show that didn't quite catch fire on the night with all those names I just mentioned. Little Dennis came on and knocked out a fella who hadn't been sort of stopped once in 80 fights.
That body shot.
Yeah. He's just, I know we go on about him, but he just seems to have that X factor, doesn't he?
Everyone knows how I feel about him. I've been banging the drum about him from day one. Yeah, I like Dennis. I like his attitude again. Fight anybody. Alan's done a fantastic job with Alan Smith, and again, I'm really looking forward to getting him out again. He's fighting again in December. He'll fight on Tyson's show in December.
Lovely.
He's been out for a while now. And then next year, if he comes through that fight next year, he's going to be involved in a title fight.
You did mention a few weeks ago, but probably because what percentage of the current boxing population is actually fit to fight at the moment, but it's not that easy getting the opponents at the moment for him.
Well, it's not, because, guys, to go to a gym and, right, you can tick over a fit, but you've got a fight coming up, you've got to train, you've got to spar, and there ain't a lot of, there's no small hall shows going on. There's only Matchroom, MTK are doing some shows, and ourselves. No one else is doing any shows. So
Hennessy
for guys to go, and Hennessy, I think Hennessy, but to guys to go to the gym, it costs them money, and to spar and so forth. So it's difficult times to find opponents, but let's hope that changes. What
percentage do you reckon? If, for instance, I reckon there's about 1,500 licensed pros in Britain with the board, maybe a bit more. What percentage of them do you reckon are actually fit to fight at the moment?
Fit to fight? If there's 1,500, I should think probably about 6-7% of them.
Because I've been struggling since March with nothing on the horizon.
What you've got to get yourself into condition. It's not just about having the fight; it's getting yourself into shape where you're going to be in peak form, and you have to, and that's a camp that you go, or that's a training schedule that you go in that takes you, 8-10 weeks.
By the same token,
and remember, the gyms were shut.
Yeah,
they only opened a couple of months ago.
By the same token, the ones that are doing it are quite likely to get their reward.
They are.
Also on that show, so you had Archie Sharp, probably not looking at his best in his last couple of fights by his own admission. He's now linked up with Alan down at the iBox gym. Positive move, you think?
Well, look, if he feels for him, look, you know what I think of Alan. Alan really is an exceptional trainer. If he feels for him that, and I think he's been with his previous trainer for
some amateurs,
since he was amateurs, wasn't he? And he feels that he needs a change of scenery, then maybe that worked for him. I hope it we will see that when he gets into the ring. But he's, if if you're winning fights when you still don't feel right, you can't be bad. Now, as he said, when I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago, he said to me how well he was doing down there, and how good he feels about the move. Then hopefully that we'll see even a better Archie Sharp. I mean, he's on his day. He's a really good fighter.
I think the team environment down there will help him, won't it? Because they'll work off each other.
Yeah,
won't
they
they?
do.
Troy Williamson had a tight run thing on the night. Harry Scarf. Some people thought it might have gone the other way. I think, like you say, there's British fights he can get involved in now, and I guess that's the way you're looking, isn't it?
It's one of those nights, but he got the win, came through. It's a tough fight, and it could have gone either way. There's no doubt about it, and he got it. Him and Hamza, that's the one we're going to make.
Of course, that's a natural one.
We will make that fight. Both of them want to do it. Troy's got an injury at the moment, so that'll be a fight for him early next year. We want to make that fight.
Excellent stuff. That's one certainly to look forward to. Now, I'm flipping to August 29th now. David Adelaide fought, but we've already talked about him now. Sam Noakes, 4-0 lightweight. I mean, bull in a china shop doesn't quite sum it up.
You wouldn't want to get in his way, would you? He is what he is, Sam. I mean, he's tough. He's relentless, and does the business and does it well. Does it in style.
He'll take 3 to give 5, won't he?
But he walks through people, doesn't he? That's what he does. He's tough.
Yeah, he's not just a crazy charging merchant. This guy won the senior ABAs, didn't he?
He's smart. He's not stupid. And sometimes
great pedigree.
Sometimes fighters will take a couple of shots if they feel they can get, they've got the better power and they can get their shots off. And he's done that in a couple of his fights. But I know that each fight as it comes up, he'll have different tactics. Because there's guys sometimes you can't do that. So he's not. As you say, he's got tremendous amateur pedigree. So he's got that to call upon.
Now, a fighter I know you're very excited about, and he's had 2 fights across this period, 2 quick wins. Willie Hutchinson. He's had a couple of one-round stoppages.
I'm going to tell you, Willie Hutchinson, provided he keeps doing what he's doing, will be a world champion.
Yeah.
He is an exceptional talent. Exceptional talent. I liken him to Joe Kawasaki.
Wow. Yeah.
I liken him to Joe right this minute. He reminds me of a very young, in his own right, Joe
and he's
Kawasaki.
young, 22.
He's a baby. And I'm telling you, he is an exceptional talent.
Just been mandated for the British super middleweight title.
Yeah, that's going to be him and Lerone.
Yeah.
That's a cracker of a fight.
Someone else who fought well that night, Sam Maxwell, showed a different side of his game to us against a good opponent in Joe Hughes. I think a few people were tipping Hughes for an upset if Sam wasn't as good as everyone thought he would.
Yeah.
And a very mature performance
very
from
good
Sam.
Performance. He's no baby, and he wants to move on. And as I say, we will move it. He'll be moved on, and next year I'll see him in some good fights.
We'll come on to Daniel, but Sonny Edwards, his win over Thomas Asomba looks all the better when you look. But Asomba probably beat Thomas Patrick Ward the other week, who's a top world-ranked super bantamweight or bantamweight rather.
Sonny's a class act. He's a really I like him, and he's been with us from day one. I think we've all worked well together, and I see him again. Look, he's not far off of being involved in some sort of eliminator or a world title fight. He's not far off of that.
Yeah. You remained at the York Hall on the 12th of September. The top 2 fights, we don't need to, we'll pick up those later, Yard and Heffron. Ekau Esserman, he beat Cedric Payno. He's a welterweight and he's now mandatory for the British title.
Yeah.
You signed him sort of early on in the lockdown period. What did you make of him?
He done everything he had to do, didn't he? He's a very good, skillful boxer.
Yeah, he's got that quality.
He's not a baby. Again, so he can move on, but he's got a big fight coming up now.
Yeah.
As you say, he's in that mandatory position. So now it's
so
all
is
up
him
to
and Jenkins fight imminent now?
Yeah, get them 2 on. That's what it is, and that's a good fight for both of them.
Josh Frankham, famous fighting family, made his pro debut after 3 years out following a hugely successful amateur career. Due to glandular fever, it wasn't like he fell out of love with the game or anything, but he produced a very composed performance against a Kevin McCauley, who came certainly to rough him up.
He certainly did, and it was for a pro debut. It was very cool and collected, and I like him. And again, he wants to fight all the time. He calls me all the time, and it'll be okay. I want to see him a few more fights, obviously, but he looks like he can. He looks like he's got a really good future ahead of him.
I actually saw him yesterday, and he was up in Manchester, I think, last week, training with Sugar Hill, and Tyson, and all that.
Well, that's the mentality he's got to go and do this.
Amin Jahanzeb got a points win. It was a late replacement opponent because I think there were problems late on in that show. He got a points win. To be honest, I didn't see so much of this fight. Did you catch much of it?
No, I didn't, because we were doing the links.
Yeah, of course you was doing the
so it was difficult,
And also Bilal Ali suffered a defeat in that fight, and I suppose the onus on these guys, and the same will apply to Mahib Fazaldin, they're going to have to come back stronger, aren't they?
Look, you want to be a pro boxer, and I'm not saying they don't train. These things happen. You get beat. This is it's now the mark of what your ambition is and what you can do to come back from these defeats, and that's in their hands how they deal with that.
And they've got to make a compelling case, I presume, to get back in a TV slot.
They have, because look, it's not like we can say, I'll give them a run out, put them on a show. We can put, we've got 12, 13 fights or 14 fights in the show. Put him on, give him one back. It's difficult at the moment. At the moment, it's about winners. That's unfortunately what it is.
It's the harsh truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the York Hall, towards the end of September, the Josh Taylor headline show, we had the Queensberry bout of Charlie Edwards' first fight at bantamweight. Got a good win over Kyle Williams. Were you happy with what you saw?
Yeah, he done what he had to do. Got the rust out of his system, and
I think that's the key thing.
That's really what it was all about. Get the rust out of his system, set himself up for another fight.
Someone who did impress you that night, a super welterweight from York, George Davey, works with Henry Wharton, and you quite impressed there, weren't you?
I am impressed with him. I like him, and I'll tell you what's going to happen when he moves up, when he goes up in rounds, 6 and 8 rounds, he'll start stopping people.
Because you can see his craft, isn't he?
He's very smart, and Henry's very astute. Henry's doing a good job with him, and you can see, he'll be okay, he will. He's got a good attitude as well.
He could be quite marketable as well, doesn't he? He looks like he belongs in Home and Away or something, doesn't he? On the beach with a surfboard.
A bit like me.
Yeah, absolutely. You relate to that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course I would.
Ethan James also got a win, went 4-0 on that show, and very competent performance.
I think he done well. He done okay.
Like that.
Yeah, nice little win.
Right, we are getting there in terms of these lists. But Nathan Gorman. Now, he had a bit of stick over his weight and things like that, but I thought he did a very good job on Larcy. He took a round to work him out, and then
the other fella comes to fight. He's a dangerous son, and he done a very. It was a real good, solid, professional performance. Got the win back on. He was on to me saying he wanted to get him out, but obviously we're trying to get him out before Christmas. We've got one final date that we should know about. I'm hoping it's going to be the end of this week. So if we got it on, he'll be on that. Otherwise, he'll be out in January. But I want to get him out. I want him to capitalise on now what he's done. He's nothing wrong with Nathan Gorman. Nathan Gorman is a good operator.
Right back in the
nice
frame,
fast hand, smart boxer. He's good quality.
Not too many will beat him, will they?
Not at all. Not at all.
The same can be said for Liam Williams. I mean, what can we say about him?
God, I'll tell you what.
Wrecking
don't
ball,
you wish you could make I wish I could make the fight right this minute of him and Andrade.
Yeah.
I think Andrade's got a 10-rounder, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And then that fight will go out. We'll either do a very short time to negotiate with Matchroom, or we will go to purse bids.
When do you anticipate
that'll go on early next year. It's got to go on, otherwise Andrade's got to vacate.
Good stuff. Which brings us on to your next show. So we've reviewed the ones you've done, which has obviously gone very well. Heffron-Bentley. What can we say? I mean, middleweights in this country, it's famous, it's
cracker, isn't it?
And these two, it can't disappoint this fight, can it?
Well, I mean, everybody had a view. I genuinely thought it was a draw.
Yeah.
I really, I'm not sitting on the fence. I'll never do that. But I genuinely thought it was a draw. And so many people had different opinions who won the fight because of the styles and how you probably score a fight. all the judges all thought it was a draw. Never come across that before.
No.
So it's a natural return, and there'll obviously be both of them. Now they know each other, they'll be out to prove a point.
I've heard people leaning towards Denzel because for some reason they think he's got more room for improvement in the fight. But I don't think you can write off Mark, because I think he'll have longer with his trainer as well.
Do you know what? You can't. That fight, going into it, I couldn't pick a winner going into that right now. Yeah. After a couple of rounds, then you'll see how it's going. But I can't, right this moment, you said who'd you fancy? I could give a case for both of them with their styles.
Absolutely. Also on that show, we have Casey Kadimi, Tommy Fury, the debut of Masood Abdullah, Louis Lin again, Muhammad Ali, and the Chris Bourke fight that we mentioned earlier. I want to change tack a little bit here, Frank, and check the timings on the thing. Frank and Fearless, A Life in Boxing, out November 12. That's something you've been working hard on? Yeah,
I've been working hard on it for a couple of years now, and I'll get sort of enthused about it, then I sort of dropped off it, but we've got it over the line. It won't be out in November, it'll be out probably end of December.
Okay. What can we expect from it? I mean, is it a warts and all type book? What's the thrust of it?
Look, it's, it's not, there's things there's just things about the background of some of the shows I've been involved with, and how I got involved into boxing, and what, my younger life and so forth. And my views and things. So, some people might find it an interesting read.
I don't want to issue too many spoilers for the book, but is Tyson Fury still your career highlight against Wilder, on reflection?
You'll have to read the book, but that's certainly up there. I'm not going to say 1, 2 or 3 because you've got to read the book.
Do you also reflect in there about possibly the fact that across maybe certainly the early part of your career, you were maybe a little bit ahead of your time? And I say that with respect to building a massive London arena that will be doing a bomb nowadays.
Yeah.
A subscription specialist sports channel, but somewhere in the future is going to be, it's going to be commonplace.
The channel's still running, and there are going to be some exciting developments with that next year.
Really?
Yes. Box Nation. We had to make some commercial decisions with BT, and we made them. But Box Nation, there will be some things happening with them next year. The arena, we was so far ahead of time, there was no transport down there. What we were promised was going to happen didn't happen. It took what was supposed to be there on the day we opened, took another 5 years before it all.
What would you give for that arena now to book it up?
Well, it is what it is, mate. You have to move on. You can't dwell and live in the past. You've got to move forward.
Just one question again relating to the book, which you put in reflective mood. If you had your time again, is there much you would change, work-wise?
Work-wise? I'd probably spend more time with my family.
You think you missed out, yeah?
Yeah, I did, yeah. But that's part of its selfishness, part of its drive. I would do, because you can't get it back. That you can't get back. The rest of it is what it is. It's part of life, isn't it? I think we've all done things we regret all things we've done differently. But if you're going to sit here thinking about that, you drive yourself around a bend. You've got to just learn from what you did.
Is it something you say to the boys about spending time with the family?
Oh, they are. They're different than I am. Much different. It's a different world, though. It's a much different world now. I think they're very good with the kids.
Moving on to November 28th, Dubois-Joyce. I don't actually know where it is, but what we do know is we're in for a monumental fight night with those two.
Oh, look, it's been postponed quite a few times now because of the pandemic and the fact we wanted live crowds. But me and the fighters and their respective connections all said they want to get it on, and that's what we've done there. So it's on BT to their subscribers on the subscription channel. So subscribers are going to be in for a real treat, because there's not a better heavyweight fight out there than that, other than Tyson Fury and Joshua.
you were probably the most popular man in boxing for a little while when that first got announced about being on normal BT. But that aside, the chance for those guys to perform in front of millions, because even if 1 million view on BT, it's going to be seen in so many other places, isn't it? Like you say, the YouTube, social media, everything else.
It's going to be, for the winner, it's going to set them up tidily for next year. And it's not the end of the world for the loser either. So whoever comes through that, you know, at the moment, Daniel Dubois is ranked number 2 by the WBO. The number 1 is Usyk, who fought the weekend. And Joshua's either going to fight Usyk or he's not. If he's going to go to Tyson, if, as they say, they want the fight, we make the fight, then that means Usyk, according to what he says, will ask for him to vacate the belt. Now, we don't want the 4 belts vacated. We want to see the 2 guys fight for the 4 belts. But if there is a problem, then Usyk will fight Daniel, provided he comes through that fight with Joe Joyce, or Joe Joyce will be in there.
I was speaking to Joe the other day, and I sort of said, is this fight the battle for priority in 2021? The priority young heavyweight contender? Of course it is. And that's what it is, isn't it?
Of course it is, you know. And listen, Joe's no slouch, nor's Daniel. These guys, I mean, they genuinely, both of them believe they've got the beating of each other. They genuinely believe that. And when I talk to them, there's no like doubt in anyone's mind. None of them's thinking, oh, you know, it's like I'm going to win this. I'm going to knock him out. And they both got that. They both got that mentality. So I think, you know, anything can happen in heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen with guys in there throwing bombs. And one thing's for sure, it will be exciting.
Watching Usyk the other night, did you see any cause for concern? Anything that would anything would prevent you, sort of make you think twice about putting him in?
I'd said months ago I'd make him and Daniel, when Daniel was the was put in at number 2, and I meant it. He is an exceptional cruiserweight.
Pound for pound cruiserweight.
Exceptional. He's an older guy who's gone up to heavyweight, so he's not growing into being a heavyweight. He's, as I say, older bloke going up and doing it. He fought Derek Chisora, and Derek, you know, does what he always does, fights hard enough. But you know,
and he got on his bike, didn't he?
Yeah, got on his bike, but he inevitably always comes second. I don't know what they was talking about, saying they thought that Derek won the fight. He certainly did not win the fight. I don't know what anyone was watching that to say that. And I feel that, you know, I mean, Derek, remember the fight he had with Derek, and there was times in the fight which he was chasing, you know, he's backing off. You know, Derek's not, you know, where is Derek in the British rankings? Where would you put him? You know, you look at, you got the 2, you got Tyson, Joshua, you got Daniel, you got Joe Joyce,
Nathan,
Dillian White, who's beaten him. So that's how I look. That's how I look at it, and that's what I'm looking at. You know, we know Derek goes in and gives his all, but it's always, you know, he always, as I say, fights. He fights hard enough to come second. That's what happens with him. And I think in this, you know, with Usyk, I would not have a problem. I don't feel that he's going to cope with the real big guys. You know, he's got to give a lot of weight away. You know, and what I mean, I'm talking about a big, you know, at that level.
He simply wouldn't be able to engage, would he? It would literally
I don't see
be
what
a
he's
mugging.
going to do. Yeah, you know, and if he's going to get on his bike, I think they'll walk him down at the end.
A topic which was quite lively earlier in the summer, boxing's entente cordiale between yourselves and Matchroom.
Forget about it. It's not happening, is it? And I never got, you know, it just didn't happen, and it's not going to happen now, is it? Because there's no get together.
No, opening a line of communication would have been useful, I suppose, though, wouldn't it?
Well, I was looking forward to, you know, sitting down and trying to sort some things out, but not heard anything. So I'm not flogging a dead horse.
Right, one thing that isn't a dead horse is Jamel Herring versus Carl Frampton. Now, you said to me a little while ago, but the WBO hope it will happen before the end of the year.
Yeah, that's what we're working on. Yeah, we hopefully get that sorted out.
And a fight that's kind of been flagged up throughout the whole of lockdown, Anthony Kakachi v Leon Woodstock. Is that still alive?
Yeah, it's alive. We're going to do it in January.
Okay. Finally, Frank, I know you'll be relieved to hear that. I'm going to put something to you. April the 8th, 2017. Does that date mean much to you? April the 8th.
No, you're going to tell me though.
I am. It was your first show on BT Sport.
Was it really?
Yeah, and it was quite a card. Flanagan, Petrov, William Smith. So you got a world title, an interim world title. Jack Catterall was on it. JJ Metcalf, Mark Heffron. Yeah. The debut of Daniel Dubois, and Nicola Adams as well. Now, since that time, you've done 45 what I would call normal shows, subscription-based shows. How many world title fights do you reckon has been in that 45 shows?
I've got no idea. I don't count them. Go on, tell me.
20.
Really?
20 with 4 interim world titles in 45 shows, and there's only been 5 pay-per-views, 4 of which involved Tyson, and 1 was Frampton Warrington. So I mean, it's been a hell of a run, and sort of some bang for your buck in there, isn't there? Yeah,
well, I'm pleased, and we've done well. It's that short space of time. It's from zero, building boxing on a channel from zero to where they are now. Yeah. They've now got the #1 heavyweight in the world. Yeah, they've got the next two. I'm not going to say pretenders, because one of them's definitely not going to be a pretender to the throne. That's all happened on BT, so it's brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, what they've got now, like you say, is those fighters plus genuine, what I would say, elite blue chip prospects, contenders.
Yeah,
I mean,
big.
Probably. I mean, you look at where this could be in 2 years' time, 1 year's time. You just.
Well, you'll know that the list of those youngsters we went through, the list of those kids, we sit down 18 months' time.
World champions there, isn't there?
There is going to be a few of them are, and there's no doubt about it.
Or they'll be in #1 spots.
Yeah, they'll get there and they'll do it. They're quality operators, all of them.
Frank Warren, thank you very, very much for your time.
It's a pleasure, Richard.
And we'll keep our eye on all these young fighters, and we'll reconvene every few months or 6 months.
We will, mate.
Progress report.
Excellent.
Thank you ever so much.
Thank you, mate.